made a video yesterday about Pluto being in Aquarius and the revolution that is beginning because of the CEO dying in New York. And so it got me thinking, because I've become quite passionate about this topic, and I didn't really understand why, because personally, I have never had a health care claim denied by UnitedHealth. In fact, I've not actually ever had a healthcare claim denied at all, because I've been pretty dang healthy my whole life. Thank goodness, knock on wood. I'm very blessed, and I've not really had to deal with hospitals and doctors yet, And so I've been very lucky in that. And, but that being said, I'm still incredibly passionate. And so I had to sit with it for a while and figure out why. And really, I think in this time, Pluto is in Aquarius, and I think if any part of you is empathetic or very in tuned to the energy of the collective, you have been able to feel the storm that was brewing underneath and all of the frustrations of the American people, but no one would really just stand up. Like no one had that spark to just change it, right? Everybody knew we needed to change it, that this healthcare system is flawed and not working. But we didn't know how to fix it. Like, it's such a big problem now. It has festered so much. It's a big problem. And to restructure the system would be a radical change. And how interesting it is that all of this is occurring during the transit of Pluto and Aquarius. And, it's interesting. It is a long transit, and it's going to take place over 20 years, but it is fascinating to me how Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, just comes in there and immediately starts shaking up things. It's not like the Pluto and Capricorn generation, where I feel like it kind of slowly grew over time. It's like we finally got there at the end of that transit. Pluto and Aquarius, it just come like a wrecking ball straight in and was like, no, revolution, change is coming. We need to be more humanitarian. I always mess up that word. Anyway, it's fascinating to me that all of this is occurring during that. And I think that any person in the population, whether you've been affected or not, and you're empathetic or in tune, psychic and in tune with the collective, you're going to be feeling this. Also, if you have been directly affected by this, or a family member or a friend that you care about, or a coworker or someone in the community, if you're directly affected, you feel this. You feel what's going on too. And even still, people like me who have not been directly affected, I can't stand a bully. I'm one of those people that whenever I was in a classroom and I felt like someone was getting picked on, I couldn't help but become friends with them or stand up for them, because it drives me crazy to think someone's getting bullied. And there's a whole population of people out there that can't stand watching others get bullied. People that don't have a voice. There'll be a voice for the voiceless. And that whole population is getting pulled into this big pool of people that, whether we're all connecting, it may not be in the same exact way, someone directly affected, but, it's still, I'm connected to them just the same, even though I wasn't directly affected. It's affecting the whole nation. And I say, the small people, but what I mean is the ones that have lost control over time. Over time, we have given the government more and more power and lost it as an individual. And so I'm talking about all of the individuals. It's so interesting how much I feel like we are uniting. I feel that. I feel some uniting, that finally people are going to say enough is enough. We see right through the media trying to tell us that we're different colors and that's why we're fighting, or we're different classes. And, I'm seeing people not judging people anymore. If people are on food stamps and stuff, we're not so critical anymore, because you know what? We're all struggling. I had a viewer that was affected by the storms, the hurricane that had come through. and affected East Tennessee and North Carolina. And he was talking about how everybody united on the forefront for that and came together and helped one another. And, you know, where I lived, there was a tornado that came through and people did unite. People brought water, and even for the linemen and all of the construction workers and the cleanup crews and the rescue squad and the firefighters. And, you know, the community rallied and united. Nobody cared what color you were. Nobody cared how rich you were. We all got in there and helped. And I see that all over America. I see people helping one another, you know, and so I'm interested on your take on things. You know, what part of the motivation do you have for this revolution? Are you the person that is directly affected, maybe not by UnitedHealth, but maybe you are affected by another healthcare provider that denied your claims? How were you affected? What happened? Or are you the person that just can't stand a bully and you're tired of seeing people getting railroaded? You know, like, it's no fun to sit there and see a CEO having $50 billion in yachts and multiple homes and all of this stuff, and you're eating breadcrumbs, and you're the reason that they have the salary that they have. Like, you know, yeah, they were smart and strategic and used the money in certain ways and made their self up to that big, but also it's because they took from others. And I think that's something that's going to change too. I don't think that we necessarily need to be parasites, as Luigi called them, parasites and take from one another. You know, like, is that really where we want to be in 20 years? Just siphoning as much as we can from another person and another person and another person until we're huge. It reminds me of that little big blueberry or whatever in Willy Wonka. You know, it's like she just consumed and consumed and consumed and consumed and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And, you know, like, how much can you grow? That you got more money than you'll ever spend in a whole dang lifetime. You know, what is it really that fun when you get up to the top and, like, knowing that you had to get your money by doing that? So I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. What is your sentiment? I want to open up the discussion to America and even other countries. You know, America has an effect on the whole entire world. It affects everybody. And, you know, even when I'm on Reddit and things like that, I see in discussions, I mean, healthcare has been a hot topic for a long time because a lot of people are directly affected by it. And so, yeah, I just want to open up, like, what is the sentiment of America right now? Where are you from and how are you feeling? And what do you think will be the outcome of all of this? You know, I saw something last night. I was talking about how, in my other video, I was talking about how, I wonder if because we're in Pluto in Aquarius and it's come in so strong and it's come in so fast and it's come in so direct and it has just started shaking up things the moment it has arrived, which just reminds me of like someone that has Aquarius or Uranus on the ascendant or something. Like they're just here to shake up things. But I wonder if the jury is going to come to some unexpected decision in it for unexpected reasons. Or I even saw something about Trump pardoning him. Like, I never thought about that happening, you know, like that's a possibility. Like, there's so many different possibilities that occur. I mean, also, you know, he could have death or life or, you know, but it's like, if he does get death or life, what is that going to look like for our nation? Is that going to divide us? Is that going to be like, are we going to rally together and not let that happen? You know, what was interesting is I kind of had a similar situation. You know, I think about what the insurance companies are going to do because of this revolution. Are they going to change? Are they going to take privileges away, trying to punish us so that we like stop, you know, putting so much pressure on them? How are they going to react to everything? And it makes me think of this one moment as a parent that I can't remember what the argument was over, but I had told my son to do something and he didn't do it or he disobeyed or something. and I was getting upset with him or like talking to him about it, whatever. And my daughter agreed with my son and disagreed with me. And so they kind of tagged up together and were coming after me. And I remember in that moment as a parent, I felt so powerless, right? Because I'm like, oh, wow, they're ganging up on me. Like, how am I supposed to come against two people? I'm only one person. So the best that I could do was, of course, punish them for their behavior, right? This is all fascinating when I think back on it. It's so interesting. So, I punished them because they weren't respecting me. So I feel like, I wonder if the insurance companies are going to feel like, oh, we're just getting disrespected, we'll take away their privileges. But ultimately what happened, which I was amazed that my kids did that, because I grew up in a time where you did not question your parents at all, and maybe that's why for so many generations this has not crumbled, because it's kind of like we didn't rock the boat, we didn't we didn't do anything about it. And that's kind of how I felt like I was as a child. I didn't do anything about it. I thought a lot of things, like and I disagreed with my parents, but I sure didn't talk back to them, and I sure didn't state my opinion. I just obeyed. And I look back on that moment in life and I think about that, and I'm just like, I was more upset that my children had like revolted or rebelled. I was really upset because I didn't know how to handle it, because I had never experienced that before. And so it was all new to me, and I'm trying to process it while still trying to maintain control. And I'm just like, oh gosh, what do I do? Well, the first thing you do is start taking away things, as punishment. Hey, if you treat me like this, I'm taking away your reward. So, but also over the long term of things, after a while and things settled down, I saw my children's point of view, and they were right, and so I even told my best friend how proud I was that my children stood up for what they believed in, and that I was wrong, and that, I was behaving in this old childhood pattern that I just had learned and I was mimicking, and I didn't even realize that I was doing it, and that whole situation brought back so much change in my life. It took me on a whole different path after that, but I couldn't help but think how that situation is similar to the insurance and what they will do because of it. There was a lady, I think in Florida, that has been arrested because she made threats, and I think we're just all frustrated, and I think a lot of people are just speaking their frustrations out. I don't know if a lot of people are gonna actually do stuff. I don't know. I don't have no idea. I don't know what else is in people's minds. We never know what's really going on. I think of Robin Williams with that. That really impacted me, because people really do look happy on the outside and like they got their stuff together, but really you don't know what's going on in the inside, and that's always an important thing to remember in life. But anyways, I just wanted to do a follow-up video on that, and I'm very interested in your take on the whole situation and what your views are and how you think the insurance companies will handle Americans starting to rise, the people starting to rise and not agreeing with what is going on to us. Like, it's basically like the abused standing up for being abused, and the abuser getting mad because they no longer have control. And it's just going to be interesting. It's like, what's the abuser going to do in retaliation? Or are they going to maybe it could be a situation like mine where I changed because of it. Let's not think always negative. I changed because of my situation. I realized, I was like, wait a second, like I could spend my energy doing things a different way and get so much more accomplished, and everything worked out for the better, and everything goes smooth now. But I had to make that change. I had to be aware that what the people were telling me, what the gang was telling me, what my two children were telling me was true, and that I had to look at fault in myself, which is not always easy. But you have to look and say, hey, yeah, we messed up. This isn't the right way. This isn't the best way for the people. We are in charge of you. You know, and I don't know why Americans don't want other Americans having a good life and being successful and healthy and wealthy and wise. Anyways, I have enjoyed talking about this hot topic today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Mwah!